Today, I'm gonna be signing legislation. City Council meeting was last Wednesday. It was the last meeting of the year for them, and they passed over 60 pieces of legislation. Now, even in the pandemic, business goes on. And as I go through legislation, I'll make some mention of some things that we have, that council has passed, legislation they passed, so that we can continue the business of government, very large things and very small things, citywide things, neighborhood kind of things. So I'll be signing these, and then I will point a few of them out. Now I have to sign them all. I guess if I don't sign them, they become effective in a certain period of time. If I sign them, then they become effective when I sign it, or if I veto it, then it goes back to council. But there'll be no vetoes in this. Very seldom use veto as mayor, but I have done it, but very seldom. Here's one, is giving consent to Cleveland, City of Cleveland Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to rehabilitate Scranton Road Bridge. Now, this is a major renovation that has, but you know, bridges, like all infrastructure, not having that bridge functional would cause the diverting of traffic and all traffic engineering. What they do, they ensure that that there's a efficient flow of traffic. And when you take a road out or a bridge out, then that interferes with that efficiency, and parts of the surrounding area becomes congested. So we're doing the repairs there. Here's one authorizing repair to the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Now, we, in the lease arrangement and in the syntax, there is money set aside for repair of the stadium, and that gives us the ability to keep the property up. It is our stadium. It is not the Browns Stadium, so we are the landlord. And through the syntax and other monies, we have money set aside to do basic maintenance, capital repairs, because we want to make sure that our facility is in best condition. Here's one, authorized requirement contract for water pumps, electric motors, control transformers, circuit breakers. This is like a requirement contract for public utilities. It just allows them to have this contract in place, so whenever they need parts to do things, they have authorization to spend money to do it. We got one coming up. This one here is authorizing Director of Public Works to agree with the Children's Hunger Alliance to participate in the after-school meal programs from 2021 to 2022 school year at our rec centers. As you know, even during COVID, we still provide a food program, and we enter into a contract with this agency to do that. And we do it in COVID-19 safety manner. They drive up and get the meals, whereas before they would sit in the rec centers and eat as a group. Now what they do is they drive up, they walk up and they get the meals, and then they take the meals home. As I said, there's over 60 of these pieces of legislation that I'll be signing. One's coming up here. Let's see, we have this one marked. Let me see what this one is. Giving consent to the City of Cleveland, of the City of Cleveland to the state to resurface Lake Avenue. As you know, as I mentioned, again, like the bridge, having the bridge and our streets, the roads in good condition is essential. And we have the ability to access state money where we pay around 20% of the actual cost of the repairs done to our street if it's a state street. And there's a process that we go through to get that state road, designated road on the list to be able to, for the state to give us 80% of the cost of doing that. And Lake Road is one of those streets where we are, the state is doing, and we paid 20% of it. And we went through a process that gave us the ability to get that in the queue. Now it's actually going to be done. Authorizing the commissioner to purchase supplies to property for the construction of a new division of fire station 26. So we're, if you know where this is at 79th and Kinsman, which is an old station, very old. Nice building, but it's so old that some of the apparatuses don't even fit in the building. And so we're building a new fire station to replace this fire station. Interesting, when I was a kid, I mean, I'm talking about in elementary school, there was an elementary school, Kinsman Elementary, right across the street from the fire station, and the school burned down. And the fire station right across the street, but the school still burned down. But this is an old historical fire station, and we're building a new state-of-the-art fire station to replace that. And so that legislation allows us to purchase the land in order to get that done. This one is a requirement contract for carts and for the automated waste collection program. And as you know, the city now gives out carts to residents so that they have the ability to put their trash in. And I think there's a monthly fee that is charged to residents, and part of that monthly fee covers these new trash cans. So if any of you are on a waiting list to get new cans, this legislation allows us to buy the cans so we can distribute them out. Let's see, something else is coming up here soon. This one is authorizing Director of Public Works to lease certain space located at Earl B. Turner Center for Jumpstart Incorporated for the purpose of developing community innovation learning center in connection with their digital learning community. This is around, they have a digital learning center there, and this allows us to enter into a contract with Jumpstart to provide instructional side of that for young people and to manage the digital center. This one is for port control. One of the things that is unique down at Berkeley Front Airport, not Hopkins, but Burke, there's a International Women's Air and Space Museum. And what this does, this extends that lease for a period of time. If you get a chance, you can go down there and see the exhibit, the pictures and other things how women have been involved in aeronautics and in space. About a year ago, I met this young lady, about 16 years old, 17 years old, and she had gone down to Burke, and I think it was Burke Lakefront Airport, where they had a flight school, and she wound up with a pilot license. She, about 16 years old, 16, 17 years old, and she got a pilot's license from there. And I believe that one of the things that may have inspired her was this museum that talks about women in aeronautics and in space. I believe her ambition was to be an astronaut also. Now this one is the transfer ordinance. Is to provide transfer and amendment of the general fund. What happens when we pass the budget? The budget allocates certain monies to certain things. But as you know, when you go on throughout the year, just like in your household, you wind up spending more money over here than you had budgeted, less money over here than you had budgeted, and in this case, maybe overtime has went up in a certain area, or the cost went up someplace, and so what we have to do at the end of the year, we have to transfer money from those accounts that have excess money into those accounts that have overspent, and that way we keep the budget balanced. So that's what we do with the transfer ordinance. And if we want to add additional money to the budget, we can do that by transfer. We do that a lot with putting extra money in for demolition or residential street resurfacing, purchase of vehicles, those kinds of things. So the transfer ordinance is a very important part of what we do. Also, this one, even though not marked, is our temporary budget. This is for the first quarter of next year. The city of Cleveland's budget is January 1st to December 31st. But what happens is, we don't submit a budget to City Council for their review until February 1st, and then they pass it, and it has to be passed by the end of the first quarter, so by April 1st. So we need appropriation of dollars to cover the first quarter of next year. And that's what this is. This is a temporary budget for the first quarter of next year, while we're engaging, we're proposing a budget to annual budget to council, and they review it. We go through hearings, and then they pass it by the end of the first quarter, and then that becomes the permanent budget for the balance of the year, and that's what that is. So as I was saying, business goes on. There's always drama in the world, and people usually gravitate to drama, but drama don't run a city. It's the mundane stuff, and this is what we're doing. We're running the city. This passes its legislation. This is to enter into an agreement with the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, manage the demolition of Dock 30 and 32, the warehouses on Dock 30 and 32. We have the NFL drafts next year, and so we're working with Cleveland Sports Commission to put on the NFL draft. Is a major event in the country, and we're hoping that by the time the draft comes around, the pandemic will be under control, where we can have more of an in-person situation. But if not, we'll do it virtually. But in any case, there's a need to remove a couple of warehouses that are on the docks as part of this national and international, in some respects, event, which is the NFL draft. That's what this is. It's authorizing us to enter into this contract with the Sports Commission to be the facilitator on that demolition project. Let me see. Now, a lot of these, when I get to the end, are liquor license objections, where council people have the right to object to the renewal of a liquor license or the issuance of a new license. They have a right to pass a resolution to object to that renewal or that adding of a new license, and there has to be some valid reason for that. And so there's legislation that is passed for the objection, and then there are hearings set with liquor board for the council person and the community to express to them why they objected to the liquor license, or either the renewal of it or the issuance of a new one. Liquor licenses are considered property, so the owners of it have a property right. So you have to prove a whole lot in order to get one taken away from someone, or not to have it, or have a new one. This is authorized Director of Community Development into a grant agreement with the Near West Side Multi-Service Center, Maydugan. As you know, Maydugan is a facility, the building we own, but the social service that goes on in there is provided by Maydugan, and they're a great partner in terms of providing social service programming to people, particularly on the Near West Side. The rest of these, as I said, some of these are like for land, people purchasing land, we need legislation for it, and liquor license objections. So again, we're in the midst of a pandemic, everything's virtual, but the reality is that the city has to run, and that drama will not run the city. Only the mundane nuts and bolts of life does, and that's what this is. So thank you very much.